Obviously, there's going to be a new quarterback in place. I think everybody knows it. I think Terry Bradshaw knows it. I think Lynn Swan knows it. I think John Stallworth knows it. Everybody knows it. So, if I had to ask you guys, who is what's your best guess for the person who's going to be a Steelers starting quarterback next year? Who would that person be? I'm going to start it off. I've said this before. And I'm going to tell you, I would like to see this particular gentleman remain where he is. I really would. But there was a lot of hoopla yesterday about the fact that it might have been his last home game. But I would like to see Cam Newton get an opportunity to play at the beginning of a season with an offense. Like, I really wonder. I know Mac Jones played pretty well this year, and I've been a proponent of his. I've supported him. I think he's had a solid rookie season. But I have never let go of the fact that I wonder what this offense would look like if Cam Newton was the quarterback. Because there are time periods where you look at Mac Jones and you're like, okay, I'm seeing this pass that you threw. I see how you played in this situation. I'm seeing that they're not allowing you to throw the ball very much at all. Anyway, you're leaning on the run game. And then when you factor in the fact, if you put in the context of having Cam Newton also as an additional weapon in the run game, and you put that in with what the Patriots are doing this year, to me, it almost seems like it makes them a more dangerous team. That's just me. I don't know. And so I would just love to see Cam get an opportunity to play quarterback from the beginning of the season. This thing he got in Carolina was not a real solid evaluation. Their offensive line is terrible. Didn't get a chance to learn the system at all. It is what it is. But if he does not go back to Carolina and get a full season there, I would like to see him get an opportunity in Pittsburgh. What about you, Lorenzo?
I'm going to go with two options, actually.
You can only have one.
No. Oh, only one? I knew you were going to say that. I'll go with one. So the one guy, and I know we're going to get to him a little bit later on the show, but I feel like with the way the system is structured in Pittsburgh and the way that, they have a young, fast-rising running back, they can go back to their philosophy of being run first. It fits this guy perfectly, Jimmy Garoppolo. His days are numbered in San Francisco. We're going to save that for later, but, he's in it. Najee Harris, it takes so much pressure off of him. Then you have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's sort of like their Deebo Samuel, their versatile Swiss Army knife guy. So I think that change of scenery could also help Jimmy G.
Yeah, and there's Deontay Johnson, there's Chase Claypool, that's a really solid tight end, Pat Freiermuth. They have some weapons. Weapons for sure. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that would probably love to get an opportunity to fall in there. I think it's very interesting. I do think Jimmy would do very well if he can stay upright, which is something we'll talk about
a little bit later.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to say they're going to get a rookie quarterback in this next year because, they pick Najee Harris in the first round, even though I don't like that rule, taking a running back in the first round. But I think they got to get younger. You got a fossil at quarterback, a guy that can't move, basically a corpse at quarterback.
He's called him a corpse.
Big Ben. I've called him a corpse. It's
Big
the tough
Ben
truth.
is what they called him.
It's the tough truth, Steelers fans. So, you got to come to grips with it. He's gone. He's done. He's over with, Big Ben. And you got to get a new quarterback. And, there are, quarterbacks out there in free agency, not free agency, but, in the trade market, or Jimmy Garoppolo or Cam Newton. But I just think they got to start from scratch. They got to start getting some, talent at quarterback, a younger guy. And I'm not a big fan of this quarterback class, but I'm going to go with Matt Corral, a guy that I've been looking at mock drafts around that teen area, around the 20s. And if the Steelers don't make the playoffs, they could very well be around that 17-16 range. And they could very well trade up for a quarterback. And I know it's tough, Steelers fans, but you got to, get into the new. It's going to be 2022 very soon. You can't just go for a bridge quarterback and just say to yourself, okay, this is good. This is the answer. They're not equipped right now to just get a sort of like a bridge quarterback to win. You look at that division right now with the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns. you're looking at a lot of these teams now in the league, and they're just young. And you're looking at Big Ben. I mean, okay, you go from Big Ben to what? Teddy Bridgewater? No. To guys that are like 30, 31, Andy Dalton, guys like that. No, I mean, you gotta find something. You gotta find a foundation. And first of all, I even doubt the Steelers even do this, by the way, but they should think about getting a quarterback in this draft class. They got to start thinking about it. They've pretty much forgotten about the quarterback, room, saying to themselves, okay, we got Big Ben, we're good to go. But I mean, I think the time is now. They got to start thinking about another direction.
I can actually kind of back up what you just said with a reference to probably the only team in the NFL, maybe the Packers, who can kind of relate to the level of consistency at quarterback that the Steelers have enjoyed over the course of Roethlisberger's career. They haven't had a quarterback controversy. He's been the guy. So the Patriots had a similar situation. And of course, they did have the Cam Newton year. But ultimately, they dropped down and took a quarterback in the first round in Mac Jones. And they seem to have found the guy who is going to be their guy moving forward. So the Steelers can look at that kind of situation and say, well, look, the Patriots, we all seem to believe they're going to be in the playoffs, have been able to find the right rookie quarterback and take them to the playoffs. The Steelers have far more weapons on offense than New England has this year. And if that worked for them, then yeah, I do hear you with Matt Corral. But here's an even sexier potential rookie pick for them, which is Pittsburgh's quarterback, Kenny Pickett. 42 touchdown passes to 7 interceptions. He's considered like the next best QB prospect. He's a homegrown kind of a kid because he's actually from New Jersey, but he's played for Pitt. I mean, if you're trying to hand it off to somebody who the fan base is going to be behind, whom you also potentially like as a prospect, I think piggybacking on what you're saying, throwing another name in there, Kenny Pickett would be a pretty solid transition from Ben Roethlisberger, I would say.
Hey, I think you could just pick anyone from a hat because I'm not in love with any of these quarterbacks. I mean, you could just say to yourself, blindfold, just pick one of them. Sam Howell, okay, fine. Malik Willis, fine. But this is really, I mean, this draft class is so unsexy. I know Steelers fans, but I mean,
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's real early. I hear that a lot. And people talk about either how bad a class is or how fantastic it is. And as much talk as we heard about this particular rookie class for quarterbacks, it's been pretty underwhelming. And almost all of them have gotten an opportunity to play, except for Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. You never know. It might turn out that Matt Corral and Kenny Pickett are the two best rookie quarterbacks we've seen in the last 10 years. It's just we don't know yet. We'll see. But what about you, Paul?
I will say, Ryan saying, the Steelers got to start thinking about this. Got to start. I hope they've been thinking about this for the last decade.
They haven't. I mean,
Jesus. Yeah. No, clearly not. But I'm just saying that, Jesus. What was the plan? Like, Mason Rudolph? Dwayne Haskins?
Dwayne Haskins.
Come on.
Or Doug Hodges.
Yeah, there you go, Duck Hodges. Yeah. I think Brian was barking up the right tree, so I'm gonna go in a similar vein, a mobile quarterback, because I was seeing Big Ben get mugged and his wallet stolen behind that trash offensive line there in the Steel City. So I'm gonna go for a guy that can, quite frankly, run for his life because he's gonna have to. Give me the former Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota. I believe, again, a classy guy, class act, never been in problems off the field. That could be a guy that fits in with the Pittsburgh scheme, the Pittsburgh, philosophy and what have you. And plus, I think, highlight your best asset. I think having a mobile quarterback will boost Najee Harris, a guy that, quite frankly, while he's put up some nice numbers, when you really take a look at the advanced metrics, like he has a terrible yards per carry. That's mostly because of that trash offensive line. Look at the play on Sunday against the Chiefs where he's hurdling guys and juking, and then, at the end of it, you're like, wow, that was cool. Gain of 1 yard. What just happened there? I mean, he has to do Barry Sanders-ish kind of stuff to do anything, quite frankly. But give me Mariota, a guy who, normally when you fail somewhere, you immediately get another chance. So he fails with Tennessee, the Ryan Tannehill, kind of dart throw works out for Tennessee. Then he was a backup with the Raiders. He never got that immediate chance to be a starter again. So he went back, cryogenically frozen there with Las Vegas, and now he can burst out and become that quarterback that I think a lot of us thought he could be, obviously coming out of Oregon. So again, give me Mariota, a former Heisman Trophy winner, a guy who is mobile. I think he'd be a great fit with Pittsburgh, man.
Interesting. I like that one too. I really do. I really do like that one. I think all of those were pretty good suggestions. So we'll see which way the Steelers go. Will probably be something completely different.
I think I had Mariota going to the Browns in a question, I think a couple weeks ago. So maybe one or the other. We'll see.
We'll see.